time is 1 minute and 49 seconds. This song is so great, it gets me so pumped. 80s vibes right here on Popcorn Planet. All right, get ready, guys. We're going to be live in a minute. I want those comments coming. Let's get those super chats coming. When you guys super chat, I'll see you, really see you. And we're going to talk about Sony. We're going to talk about stuff. So get ready. Almost 1 minute and 50 seconds. And I saw those comments. Yes, this is the new movie fights. Tune in every Wednesday. This is the part of the song where it's the cool down. Like if you're on a bike and you're doing it real fast, you need to slow down here. Shout out to Jude. What a badass song. I gotta put this on YouTube. Hello, everybody. We are live. Woo! I did it. Oh, my God. I think it works. Thank God. Finally, it works for once. Hey, everybody. I'm Andy Signal. We're here live on Popcorn Planet. We're talking Sony, Disney, Marvel, Tom Holland. And we're also going to talk Matrix 4. So much fun stuff. And for the first time ever, I'm going to have you guys call in to potentially change my mind. If you guys have the guts, if you have the guts to try and do it, this should be a lot of fun. So let me turn on my mics. Hey, everybody. You're all now live.
Yo, 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 yo.
What's up? I got a packed house here today. I'm ready to open my Truly. I don't really like this, but I'm trying to I gained some pounds back, so I'm trying to, and I got my Angel Has Fallen beer cooler. I'm living life, guys. Who else is excited about this Sony Disney drama? I've been loving it. Anybody else?
Yes.
I'm ready to spill this tea.
Let's spill the tea.
Hot, the tea is hot.
It's crazy.
All right, let's go down the line. I want to introduce everybody. And guys, how this show works, I'm going to be talking to you throughout. At some point in the show, I may give a Gmail out that's just for the show, so don't think you're going to like dox me or anything. But I may give it out so you can try and join us and get in this conversation. Because today's episode, I wanted to do a live change my mind. I have a very passionate opinion on this. I've already made like 2 or 3 videos. I think the bird of Birdhaven, you just set a Bloodhaven. Thank you, man. How's it going, dude? It's going great. It's going great now that you just dropped $2. Thanks, man. Now it's like I have a job. Otherwise, I did this for nothing. But now I did something. All this work, hours of work today. I made $2. Thank you, for real, bird of Bloodhaven. But what I was saying, I'm very passionate in that I think Sony is not in the wrong here, and a lot of people are getting their emotions in the way. And I think if anybody actually needs Spider-Man right now, I think it's Marvel. So who's on with me on that camp? Let's raise your hand. Who's with me a little bit more that Marvel? That was a gross spit. Did you see that, EJ? Who's with me that there's that the majority thinks that Marvel actually needs Sony more than Sony does?
Ooh, it's us over here.
You guys are sort of my side. You think Disney needs Spider-Man more than Sony does too?
Yes.
We got Izzy, we got EJ. Izzy, you were on my party. Thanks for coming back. You were on the Change My Mind. So funny. Make sure you stay in your angle there, otherwise they can't see your beautiful face. And EJ, you did my Tarantino review. Thanks for doing that with me.
Yeah, your controversial Tarantino review.
I know
that
people are flipping out.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to be a little bit more on my side, but that's not okay. That's why we got 3 people on the other side. Woo woo! Welcome back, Katie. Well, it's so nice to have you in our Spider-Man fight.
Yes.
Yeah, you were. Katie, and we got Ian, as always, my buddy Ian. Yay. And welcome Scarlett to the show. Hey, Scarlett. You were also on the Change My Mind. That was a lot of fun.
The Black Widow review.
Yeah, and you were very polite and engaged with me so smartly. And I was like, you should come hang out. And now you're here, so I'm glad we did that.
I'm glad too.
And you also brought this. So I'll be using this throughout the show.
Yes.
I'm so jealous.
Yes, the losers will be snapped.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to win.
So cool.
We have to win.
Yeah,
I
So
don't
cool,
want to die.
guys.
I don't want to be
I want one of
deleted.
these so bad.
Hold the,
We'll put it
Yellowstone.
let's put it right here. Can they just block my face? There we go. The whole show. That'll be good. No.
Yeah.
You see how freaking huge? It's really funny on you. Will you put it on for a second? Because I have a big arm, but
Let me tell you a
not
little
to-
story.
Look
I
at
actually sent a picture of this to
Wait,
him saying,
but-
you want me to bring it?
Yeah, and I was
like
like,
that.
yes.
I'm scared.
Yeah,
I'm
wait,
about
let
It's
me
like
get
as
that.
big as you. Like that thing is giant. It's really Thanos size.
Yay.
Yeah, that is awesome. All right, so yes, thank you for bringing that. Wow, thank you, Master Penguin. Stop Disney bullying. I agree. So, but you
Yes.
guys don't believe this. You guys think Disney doesn't need Marvel. You think Sony needs
I'll
it.
say this though.
Oh, sorry. Turn your mic on.
It is on.
It is. All right, talk again.
I'll say this. Can you hear me? Test,
Oh, yeah, now
test.
I got you.
Okay, so I'll say this. I do agree that this was a messed up deal. That Disney is being too greedy with this. I'm gonna agree with the deal being shady. But that being said, I don't think Tom Hardy's Spider-Man, not just Spider-Man in general,
Tom
'cause
Holland.
Tom Holland, sorry, Tom Holland's Spider-Man can work without the MCU. That's what I'm saying. Not Spider-Man in general. Tom Holland's, which was surrounded by the MCU.
But was it?
What was it though?
Yeah, let's get. Well, don't EJ save it. We'll get there.
Sorry, I just.
We'll go there later.
All right, but Katie, Scarlett, you agree? You think
Yeah, so I...
Sony needs Spider-Man? Is what you're saying? I mean, Sony needs the MCU for their Spider-Man.
Yes, I do, because, how do I put this? With Spider-Man, with how we've been creating him and taking him into the light and how we've set him up, he was set up in
Civil War.
in Civil War. That's right. And in Civil War, and I think his base is the MCU. I think he can go off and do his own thing, as been proven with his Far From Home and his Homecoming. I think legitimately we need to stick with his base and keep him at least by a thread on his base. A web, if you'd say.
A web. Ah. Katie, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They just, yeah, I don't really have much more to say. Like, I agree with them. This is pretty much the same thing they need.
That you need that Sony needs
yeah,
Spider-Man.
because they already started off with. They gotta finish what they started.
All right, so that's a fair argument. The main idea here, and I think, guys, you're going to have to help me out, but the main idea here being, oh, well, they started out with Iron Man. To me, the only thing that's questionable here that actually I'm legitimately concerned about, where does Happy go?
Oh, he goes to the MCU.
And so I will.
Yeah.
Only thing I will cave is can they even say Happy?
No.
If they move forward and they've established him as the father figure that I wanted him to come back.
You gotta ask.
Well, wait,
But
here's the
have they? Because if anything in Far From Home, Aunt May said that was just a weekend booty call
Oh,
kind of
tell
thing.
you.
So
What if-
she really didn't say this is your new Uncle Happy?
Daddy.
So
What if she
Daddy,
decides-
Uncle
Yeah.
Happy.
but you know,
What if
they're
she
just-
decides she doesn't want to see Happy at all anymore after
Absolutely.
this? You know.
So I just
Yeah.
believe that again, he's not integral to this thing. He's really been a Tony Stark person. So now that Tony isn't as influential in the MCU anymore, Happy can go away.
You
Gwyneth
mean-
Paltrow can go. Forget she's in movies. Again, it's really not that hard to like remove.
She really does
Like
forget that she's in
Spider-Man
movies.
from
That
this
is pretty
universe,
funny.
he, what is he gonna do? Really call up Hawkeye and be like, "Hey, what are you doing on Friday? I'm bored." Like he has no real connections. So
to echo
I'm,
that,
I'm,
and to echo you because I want to support that because you're absolutely right. What we don't, and I said this in my video, guys. It's time for a Spider-Man movie. Not an Avengers movie, not a Hulk and
Yeah.
Spider-Man movie, not a Deadpool Spider-Man.
Not
I
an
don't
Iron
want
Spider
Spider-
movie.
I don't
Spider-Man.
want anyone
Like
but
it's not.
Spider-Man.
I agree
He
with
is a huge personality that deserves his own freaking movie.
Oh,
As
he deserves
Tom
his own
Holland.
franchise.
Tom Holland should not have to keep having to team up with an Avenger to make it interesting.
Do I get to talk?
No,
Do
go
I
ahead.
get to talk? Okay, cool. Okay, my argument isn't, hey, we need to have a buddy movie that everybody teams up with, because obviously a Spider-Man movie can't work without the MCU. Obviously, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse worked. My problem is his character, Tom Holland's character, is based around the MCU. He has no Uncle Ben. He has Tony Stark. Can't even mention Tony Stark no more. The guy that made his suit. Does he have to get another suit? That's Stark technology.
I mean, technically, he made his suit at the end of Far From
Yeah.
Home, so that's his
That's
suit
Stark
now.
technology.
He totally
What are you
did.
talking
Good
about?
call.
Yeah.
That is still
Good call.
Stark technology.
Not to mention, even if he made we did it and made it and got him back to his old suit like we saw in Homecoming. Even if they did that, they would still have to throw in some bits and pieces of Stark in there
I don't-
because Stark has been a pivotal character to him. At least
I don't
the
think
Tom
so.
Holland
It's
we
like
know.
Spider-Man without Uncle Ben when you take out.
Yeah, but
the
Uncle
Stark
Ben
movie.
always dies. And
In
you
the
talk
first
about
15
him.
minutes.
You don't
That's
always
not
like
part
we
of
know
his
Uncle
character.
Ben.
Is
Maybe
Uncle Ben
30
not
if
part
he's
of his
lucky.
character?
I
Hold
maintain
on,
this.
Yeah, go ahead, Izzy. Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead.
maintain this. I maintain the Spider-Man did more for Tony Stark's character. than Tony did for Spider-Man's character. Tony's whole character arc was done at the end of Iron Man 3, which is not the best Iron Man movie, which isn't even on the radar of best Marvel movies.
So with a straight
right?
face, you guys are with a straight face, you guys are gonna be like, okay, we can continue this franchise without acknowledging that he dusted and died and came back. We can.
Yeah, he wasn't an impact on Peter's
acknowledge
life.
that he didn't earn any of his statuses from being a mentor of Tony Stark. We could do that with Tom Holland's character. We can acknowledge none of that shit happened and just move on with life.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, honestly, do you not want to see Tom Holland fly around New York finally and be Spider-Man?
That's a different argument.
No,
I would love.
it's
Like,
the
I
point.
wanna-
not a
Like,
different
argument
I want to
is-
see a single Spider-Man movie,
Of course
but
we
even
do.
if we did got the single Spider-Man movie, it would still, how do I put this, not make much sense to just
Why?
throw away Iron Man.
Because
He's
crushed-
dead.
That's
What do you
not-
mean throw? They threw
I
away.
meant throw away the influence he has had on Peter's life.
You
'Cause,
can
well,
do that without mentioning it. You don't have to talk about your dead parents every time. If your parents die, that's inside of you. We know the backstory. I don't need to be reminded of the backstory every movie. It already
no,
happened.
no.
And the beauty of what Sony already has here is they don't need to bring it. It already happened. They can go watch the
You
other
know.
two, and they can
Oh,
put
yeah,
it in the
no,
same
no, no,
DVD set. And Part 3 hasn't had any friggin' Marvel at all because it's all going to be eluded smartly, where they don't have to pay them. And why
Yeah.
should they pay them?
Well, that I agree, but here's another thing: is a counter argument, which is he still has access to Stark technology. If they
Not
were,
anymore.
That worked so
solved.
well for him in that movie.
Yeah, I know.
Giving
Edith
this
is a,
child
And even if you look,
tech
It's a Marvel
worked
property.
great.
but
and-
he still has access to the tech.
even if
People are
you look
going
at
to let him
some of-
in.
even if you look at some of the best comic stories for Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who remembers Spider-Man Worldwide when Spider-Man had his entire company, Parker Industries? That's not one of the best Spider-Man stories. It's when Spidey's building his stuff in a spare room in his aunt's house or working for the Bugle, trying to figure it out, trying to make that money. You're stepping away from some of the things that are the Spider-Man
That are pivotal,
ethos.
that are
exactly.
pivotal.
You know, by trying to continue this involvement with Tony Stark when it's not necessary.
Oh, well,
So I want to ask. There's a question here came in from because when they super chat me, they take over the show. Thank you,
Yes.
Jonathan. He's paying my bills right now because all this stuff isn't free. If it weren't for this ordeal, be honest, all of you, would you want Marvel or Sony to make their next Spider-Man movie? Definitive version, no cameos.
Sony. I mean, not Marvel. Obviously, because
Freudian slip.
Sony does not have the best track record of making these movies.
Oh,
Where?
Hotel
Two-
Transylvania. You have Hotel Transylvania,
about
and this is
Star.
only the most recent ones. We have Hotel Transylvania, Sausage Party, and then we have Emoji Movie. Admittedly, they're pretty to look at.
And all profitable.
I will admit that, but the storyline.
Sausage Party, I don't remember the numbers.
Uh,
and Into the Spider-Verse.
I was
did
talking about
struggle.
Spider-Man movies. I wasn't
Yeah.
talking
But
about
no,
Sony in
and
general.
then let's go to Spider-Man movies because there's only 2 real duds in that, and that's fan
2
duds.
out of 5. That means
Those are fan duds. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And then let's go back to the MCU at that time. Same time, we had Dark World Thor coming out a year before
I
Spider-Man
would rather
2.
watch Dark World than
So,
anything
okay, so
with
you think-
Andrew
so you-
Garfield.
And that's your personal opinion?
Yes, absolutely. Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man.
Oh, I will watch. I will watch
wait.
Garfield.
Okay, I want.
Oh,
people to comment.
Garfield,
Hold on,
Garfield,
before-
hands down.
Damn,
We all talk at
MCU
once,
fans
it's
will
ridiculous.
really like.
All right,
Y'all
so
will
everyone,
rewrite history
bear with
for
me.
that
I'm trying to
MCU.
mark these levels. Wait,
I
Dark.
felt that
What
in
about
the
Dark
chest.
World?
I was like,
He said that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is better than Dark World. I have to disagree with that.
I don't know. That seems like a
agree
waste of
with
time
that.
because you're
I
wrong.
agree.
But no,
with that.
I'm just
like
saying.
Andy Garfield.
I'm just saying.
I don't either.
There's messy.
Hold on,
there's
go
messy
ahead.
track records in all of this. This isn't a
Yeah, this
clean
is
cut thing. I really believe that Sony has a universe that they've started to really make in their Venom one, into their Spider-Verse as well. No, that's not exactly going to be the live action version, but they're really starting to get these characters more than they did in Amazing Spider-Man. I think Raimi's the one's kind of the closest to it, and we lost that as well. But I think Sony's trustworthy right now. I think Sony can do it. Why not? Why give it a chance? We really gave MCU a lot of chances in their first couple years. From
had
08
hope.
to
I agree with that.
2012
We had
to
hope.
maybe 2013, there was a lot of mess ups in the MCU. We let them stumble.
I would argue their mess ups are still better than Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
See,
Oh,
You
that's
really think
that's
so-
not fair.
no.
Everyone
I
say,
agree
hold
with
on.
you on
Well,
that.
Everyone,
you
hold
keep
on,
calling
let
out
me
their mess
gather.
ups, but like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me gather the comments here. Sorry, because there's
Go
a
ahead.
lot of comments here saying that excuse me, Andrew Garfield is the worst, blah, 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 blah. And that's sort of like
Thank
the
you, everybody.
definitive
Excuse you.
reason
Excuse
for
you,
using
Andrew
that.
Garfield
Hold on,
is
why
one of
my
the best.
voice-
It's a track. That's a great argument.
I don't understand why that argument
Well,
sort of...
should that argument be a part of this? The actors have
Hold on,
no.
hold on,
The
hold on.
actors
Wait,
have
wait,
no
wait,
influence.
shh, wait. Just trying to get my levels. There we sorry. Making
sorry.
sure the levels are... Because when we all talk, it becomes loud. I'm trying, guys. What I was going to say, then I'll let you go to you, Scarlett, because I know you have something to say. This argument that Andrew Garfield was bad and then therefore they can't make a movie is really sort of silly because... Look, let's be subjective here, right? Or is it objective, subject, whatever. Let's be the one that matters.
Let's be active. Let's be active.
There are moments in Mark Webb's Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, that aren't like the worst movie. That aren't Spider-Man 3. They really are. There are moments that sort of work. Garfield's a little miscast, but him and Emma Stone had great chemistry. The first Amazing Spider-Man had moments that were okay. Look, I don't like the movies by any means, but these aren't like the worst movies. These aren't like friggin' I'm just trying to think of the worst movie. These aren't
Your
Batman
original
versus
Super Mario
Superman. No.
I'll agree with that.
They aren't like Super Mario Brothers, right? They're not like such like, oh my god, they were wasted opportunities, and they were just Sony. Then I think really boffed it in two, where they did the world building, right? And they didn't know how to do it, and it was I like the idea of Sinister Six, but they took over. But then something happened, right? Do you know what happened? The Spider-Verse happened. And the Spider-Verse has now, for me at least, erased the bad taste of the Andrew Garfield
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
though. We're talking about this Spider-Man that's
that is
established
a
in the MCU.
Sony Spider-Man.
But did
Yeah,
Marvel
I
help
didn't say
with
that
production
Sony
on it?
Spider-Man couldn't work. I'm saying Tom Holland's Spider-Man can't work because he's based out of the MCU. That's a
I
different
think
argument.
Sony-
is
But
what I'm
hold on,
saying.
can I touch on that? He's,
Go ahead,
he's
go ahead,
based
go ahead,
on
go
the
ahead,
MCU.
go ahead.
and I'll get to your
And-
super chat.
And
Thank you.
I think it's interesting that you say he's based on the MCU. He's based around Tony Stark. He had one cameo,
own character?
and yes, he had his one cameo in Civil War. He really didn't connect with other things. Oh, hey, Cap, cute little thing. Oh, you got a metal arm. That isn't connecting with the characters. Okay, we have
It's those
Infinity-
solo movies besides the cameos.
Oh, two solo movies that have brief cameos from Fury and
Tony
Marie
Stark.
Hill, not Tony Stark. What that again? Kind of my core issue. But then
I've
we
never
go
made
to
the argument that cameos make the great movie. My
No.
argument is he's based out of the MCU,
But he's
and he's
not.
I know, you've
though.
said that.
But he's not. He's literally based on Tony Stark.
Yes.
He's based on Tony Stark. He has no other connections to the MCU other than Tony. Who has he connected with?
It's true. He's interacted with people, but
Yeah.
really, like, what else? We don't need anyone else there. In
I
fact,
never said you did.
In Far
So
From
then how
Home,
is he
I said
connected
he's
to
based
it?
out of this universe. I didn't
How
say
is
that
he connected,
we need
though,
the...
Ian? I'm putting your feet to the fire because you're saying it over and over again. How is he connected beyond Iron Man?
Well, now since Endgame, we got him in the corner. But since Endgame, he now has Doctor Strange. He now has a lot of other characters. He has met other
Yeah,
characters. So we can now
cameos.
use. Well, yes, but we can now
I'll
use
defend this
that
later.
because he has talked to them. We can at least ensure that he has talked to Stephen Strange. So now we can actually.
Stefan.
Wow, she like dead
the
named
club,
him.
I was trying to do a Stefan impression. I can't do it.
Anyways, what I mean is we now have a
the best
basis.
club, the Emporium.
Because here's the thing. Even before, we would have to have a cameo. Like, let's say we had a Spider-Man movie before Civil War. He would, in order for him to be in Civil War, Tony Stark would kind of have to do a cameo, like a Marvel last scene cinematic cameo, for him to be a part of Civil War. So now with this, we can kind of, like, push him into it. Push him into
Well, I
other
was going to say,
Say
can
Yeah.
I? Let me try and help here
Yeah.
because I also want to comment on a. I'm going to get to your comment there.
Yeah, get some-
Oh, go ahead, go
Monk's
ahead.
Den.
I really
Thank
like
you.
that super chat.
But
yeah.
what I was going to say though is this opportunity that I think you got, and EJ, you nailed it, and Izzy, we're on it. It's just like there it is. There's really nothing besides Iron Man that really the MCU is connected to Spider-Man for. It's like even if you go to Far From Home, he's trying to like run away from Nick Fury and the MCU. He does not want anything to
Then
do
why does
with
the MCU need him then? Because if they
They
don't
don't.
really have any... But your argument
Well,
is the
here's the
MCU needs him more then. So
Well, right, because
then why do they need him if
Well,
he
that's-
has no
that's-
connection?
You're interrupting me to the next point, which is Phase 4 sucks, and they need a Spider-Man movie more than anything in that lineup. That's why they need him, and they need Spider-Man to show up to be the cameo in the other movies because they don't have anything good coming up.
How do you
that's
know
as good as
Phase 4
Spider-Man.
sucks? This is your prediction.
Well, I just look at it. I'm not as excited as
I
would be.
I looked at
Well, hold
Guardians
on,
of the
hold on,
Galaxy and said it sucked. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
wrong.
that's no. Oh, yeah. So Eternals just automatically is a Guardians now. Any film Marvel makes is well, it could be Guardians. We got to base it off of something, and these
What
movies
is your
don't look
base off? It's
interesting.
gonna suck though, just by looking at it. Oh, this looks terrible. What,
It's not
how
that
do
I
you know
think
Phase
it
4 is gonna
sucks.
suck?
I'm not excited.
Hey.
Are you excited for certain movies when you see a trailer or the poster? Do you get
Sometimes.
excited for a movie? The point is, I think
I
you
don't have
can
a
gauge
trailer
whether
or
you're
a poster
excited.
for this though.
Hey. So
Yeah,
we've done a lot of talking, but what about your opinion? You know, what do you think?
About okay. I still think they need. I don't know how to explain it. I'm so bad at this. I feel like Marvel. I mean, I kind of agree with both sides, but at the same time,
we've turned it.
She's in
off.
the best
Yeah,
spot.
I'm starting to agree
I see
too.
both points.
Good
Yeah, like
people on
I'm
both
trying to
sides.
stay on this side, but I'm like,
no.
I see the right sides of both.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I mean, they already started it off with, like we said earlier, it was already started off with Spider-Man already in with the characters with those connections, and it's like if they had a prequel, maybe I don't know how to explain it.
You want me like a prequel where there's more MCU stuff with Tony, etc.?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but they don't. Tony's dead.
I know.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't want
Black
to get
Widow's
too far.
dead, but
I don't want to get too far because something else I wanted to get to. This Monkston. Thank you for the donation, Monkston. That was a very nice super chat. He says something I was going to bring up at some point. I think this is a great opportunity to bring in live action Miles and expand on the Spider-Verse. This could also explain the
that'd be
MCU
cool.
Spidey if they want, and
for
that
that.
is exactly
Yes.
the key there. Because
Hold on,
Matt, hold on, and I'll go right straight to you. But imagine a world where the cartoon Miles jumps through a hole in the
for
Spider-Verse
that.
and pops in, and suddenly Tobey Maguire's there, Tom
be dope.
Holland's there. Dude, every
Spider-Man
single
Noir,
person
yeah.
in the world will see
I don't
that
think
movie,
anyone
and
would
it
not wanna see
doesn't
that.
need the MCU. They've now gone off on their own thing. And you got to remember, guys, if Sony gives Marvel a piece of the Spider-Verse, then what? They gave away the whole farm. You can't give that away. They had nothing to do with it. Kevin Feige didn't introduce the Spider-Verse. And in fact, screw Kevin Feige. Teased us with the multiverse in freaking Far From Home and then didn't even deliver it. Like, he had the chance to do it and then he can't even take credit for it because
nice
he had
tease.
nothing to do with it. So why would Sony want to give up the cash cow that is the brilliance of although introducing Spider-Gwen, so many freaking amazing characters that can have their own movies, that can interact with Peter. He's got his own cameos in his own universe. He doesn't need Marvel. Now, that's the big issue. I'll go back to Sarah, but my point back to you to counterpoint is, why do you think Sony needs that when they have such a catalog?
Is that for me or?
Anyway,
Well,
let's start.
so it actually kind of goes back to what I was saying. Sony can make a pretty movie, but we all have to admit some of the stories are lackluster. I'm going to say this right now. I'm personally afraid that they're not going to be able to handle the storyline of Spider-Man. That's what I'm afraid of.
Complex MCU storylines of my dead uncle, surrogate Tony Stark.
That's
I
what it
had
was.
Alright,
said
okay.
That's what
Hold
it
on.
was.
To echo what Scarlett just said, I want to, Ron, and my self-designed, thank you for the $2. Ron, thank you for that compliment. Ron Crawford just said, I think Sony taking charge for the third Spider-Man film is going to confuse general movie-going audiences since it won't have that connectivity. But I would challenge, I'm with you, like you were just saying, what are they going to miss? It's
Yeah.
like...
Uncle Ben's dead.
Yeah,
Tony's
Uncle Ben,
dead.
Tony's dead. There's a million things you can just
He now
say.
has his Aunt
I'm not with
May.
Happy anymore. I'm not seeing him anymore. What else is really connective that's not going to make sense to J. Jonah Jameson going after revealing Spider-Man's identity?
which
Why
has
does-
nothing
why-
to do with the MCU.
Why does he want that
Well,
anyway?
to go back to the
What is it, Jonah
Monkston
Jameson want?
point,
Why
when
is
he was
he
talking about
Jonah?
Miles, we can barely introduce Miles now in the MCU or even in a Sony thing because Feige took a lot of Miles' stories and gave them to Tom Holland's. The science prep school,
Facts.
the nerdy Asian friend. There's a lot there that they stole from Miles
From Bendis.
that it's going from the Bendis storyline that's really going to hurt Miles' introduction in a live action. So I would love to see him, but the way the MCU has done Spider-Man, it's hard now.
I
They've
get
really
it.
like kind of booked themselves into a corner, at least on the MCU side. On the Sony side, there's a lot of opportunities to play. I do think the MCU needs him because they needed that third figure in their trifecta. It was going to probably be Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man.
Yes,
That was most likely going to be their new Trinity.
absolutely.
Those are the three biggest names. Those are billion-dollar films. I really didn't think Shang-Chi, nothing against Shang-Chi, was going to be the trifecta new Trinity. I don't think Benedict Cumberbatch is going to stay around to be Strange enough. And then going back to that, is Strange really going to miss Peter Parker?
No.
Is Strange really going to lose
there's a
sleep
couple
at night
Starks.
being like, oh
Well,
no,
why don't I have that one kid from
one
Brooklyn or something?
16-year-old.
Queens.
Yeah,
Oh, he's so sticky. I don't know.
because it's not
Yeah,
like
same
Cap's
with-
going to miss
With
him.
Captain Marvel too.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Peter Parker. Yeah, she's got a million more important things to do.
Yeah, so it's interesting of this, I really think the MCU needs him, but I really don't think Sony needs it because Sony has so much to play with on their end, and I think
Yeah.
Marvel...
So
Marvel's
I
kind of
guess-
just been cherry
To
picking
your
from the
previous
other
point.
Spider-Mans. So now they're trying to make it so like he's the only Spider-Man. Whereas Sony, they're now going, well, there's a lot more. So let's see what we can do.
Hopefully.
Effectively, I mean, I feel like in this instance, to your point earlier, with the lack of trust in Sony being able to tell this story effectively, I think Sony is taking this time after a seriously failed and a slightly above reasonably bad Spider-Man, right? I call it the Adidas model, right? Find someone who really wants to do the job, write the check, and then do this, right? We haven't really had that opportunity yet with Sony to get them to really play with Spider-Man outside of Spider-Verse, outside of Venom, to say, okay,
So
we
give
learned
them a
our lesson.
chance.
Here's the job. We're going to do the best we can.
Well, they did
Right.
have 2 chances, and then they had help.
But that
from-
was back in like...
Man,
Well,
nobody's
okay,
gonna let me
wait.
talk today.
To be
No,
fair,
let him talk, let him talk.
to be fair, no one cared about superhero movies back then, or at least rarely anyone did.
I had 'em.
Because
then,
a lot
when-
of when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they were coming out, we had X-Men.
Okay.
So to be fair, not many people cared enough about superhero movies. Nowadays, we can actually see what they can do.
Well, it's because they're making billions of dollars. I mean,
Oh,
Marvel,
yeah.
and that's credit to Marvel for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah,
what do we think about Venom? Because that keeps coming up in the comments,
Venom is a
and we haven't
man.
really mentioned that. Like, let's show a raise of hands. Who enjoyed Venom?
Venom was
I enjoyed
okay.
it.
I'm kind of.
It was okay. It wasn't
I'm
terrible.
kind of on the fence about it.
So only Katie is the only person who didn't enjoy Venom.
No, I didn't like it.
You didn't, but everyone else sort of was
I think
okay
it
with
was
it.
I'm
Okay.
on the fence
It was
about it.
Because I'm
passable.
not
They
going to
could do
say
better.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying here it was fantastic. It
Yeah,
had
I
problems,
agree.
but I
agree.
think there were moments that actually surprised me as entertaining. And Tom Hardy did a good job, and I was like, he surprised me of like
It's got
when they
potential.
went there, and I believe Hardy in that it didn't go the way he wanted to, and it could have been even better. And so I like that now he's had clearly some involvement and say, and I think he picked Serkis because Serkis is an actor's director, and that was.
Someone called out my dungarees.
Let's call that coming out.
Yeah,
Starman,
yeah.
I never thought I'd find myself agreeing with a full-grown man wearing dungarees. So there you go. Do you feel good, DJ?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really tried to like get y'all. I'm gonna hate this guy. Surprise! I have an opinion. It's not that bad. Sorry.
But I was gonna say back to Venom. There's something there, and the reality is between Spider-Verse and Venom, this is the first time Sony has Spider-Man properties that have nothing to do with the MCU and could work. So why
could
should
work.
Why
why?
take the football?
Why
of the
would
reasons-
Why would Sony give up right now and be like, yeah, you can have stake in all of our because what they're gonna do is have 50% of all Spider-Man movies. That's
I think
insane.
And that was
I
the
personally
original
think that's
That's
fair.
a
I
different
personally.
argument, though. That I agree with that. That's
I
a
personally
fucked
think
up
that's fair,
situation.
like
No,
50%,
I agree
yeah.
with that, but one thing I'm saying is Marvel had their hand in there, and it also had a certain director. That director's not coming back, and Marvel's not coming to have a hand in production as well.
Yeah, actually,
There's-
that's another good point. I want to mention that. What's his name? John Watts?
I don't know his
Yes,
name.
John
but I know he's
Watts.
not
John
coming
Watts.
back.
Thank you,
John
EJ.
Watts.
So John Watts apparently is not contractually obligated to do it, which puts him in such a sweet spot right now.
Yeah.
He can
Because
go either or.
John Watts, good on you, man.
he
Your
really
agents must be
does.
like popping champagne right now because he can play the good guy and be like, no, I'm just not going to do it. And every studio in town's going to want to
That's the,
swipe
that's
him
the
and
way
do
it
whatever
could
he
work if
wants.
they keep the director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I
I will
think
say
they
this. I would say
might,
this.
yeah.
A general rule of thumb is even if the source material is how a movie does the source material might be bad, the movie in itself might not be bad. I think like Ghostbusters, I'm gonna go ahead and go that in.
Which Ghostbusters?
I'm gonna say the first Ghostbusters and the
girl
remake.
one.
I'm gonna say the Ghostbusters.
Don't say the girl one triggers us all.
No, I have a point. Listen, I'm saying this. The remake is actually a good movie, but it's because of the original. Everyone's comparing it, so it
Wait,
looks
the
bad.
girl remake was a good movie, is what you're
In
saying?
and of itself. No, listen.
I'm out of here too. I'm getting out of here.
No, listen.
This is a fun show.
We need to read these chat comments.
No, listen. What I mean
Look,
is,
and it was-
a movie, as a movie, it's
It
a pretty
was a
decent
movie, I'll
as
give
a
it
movie,
that.
That was a good one.
no, as a movie was decent, but as a Ghostbusters movie, not
No,
good.
it wasn't funny.
It's about
It
as-
wasn't
I'm not on
funny.
that
I'm saying it was a good movie.
No, it
maybe
wasn't
not
a
as a
good
comedy.
movie.
I'm
but it was a
arguing
good
Spider-Man.
movie.
You just
That's
said
what's
maybe it
going
wasn't a
on
comedy,
over
maybe it
here.
wasn't a remake. Well, what made it
No,
a good
I'm
movie?
saying as a movie, it had that followed the
It had a
structure.
beginning, middle, and end.
No, I'm saying,
Did it though?
no.
Did it?
Well, okay, now here's an argument.
I never saw the
The
end, I
original
just walked away.
Ghostbusters was a parody of haunting monster movies, group movies, coming out then, played by funny comedians of the time.
You're going
What?
to the grave on this one, Scarlett.
No, I know.
You gotta respect your
listen,
consistency.
Yeah, I
No,
gotta
listen.
respect the consistency. Yes, go
No,
ahead.
listen, but what was different about the remake? It was a parody of the movies that were coming out, the haunting movies that were coming out then, with funny comedians at the time.
Funny is a lot of leverage you're getting.
no, I know.
But
You're
No,
making
but
a lot
I
of
mean,
Hold on,
assumptions.
hold on.
She's really not that wrong. It's literally, it's a matter.
Oh.
It comes out of the dark.
I can't join.
What I mean what I
on.
mean is.
I didn't
what
think
I
we'd
mean
turn
is-
this into
I
a
gotta hear what you gotta
Ghostbusters a
say
good
about
movie.
it.
Go ahead. I wanna
Please
hear
defend what she just
Yeah,
said.
let's hear EJ went on the line. EJ, I'll give you the mic. Go ahead.
Let's do some controversial things from EJ. I'm not a big Ghostbusters fan, so looking at this as not a Ghostbusters fan of the original,
As a movie critic.
it's literally just the same movie. Not as funny because I'm.
You're not the fan. You don't like the jokes.
I don't think it's they're aesthetically so similar. CGI and the new one's not that great. Blah blah blah. There's little technical errors, but they're so similar in what she was saying. Comedians doing a ghost movie.
Going
They're-
a parody
Hold on,
of a
whoa.
ghost.
I gotta cut. I gotta stop. I gotta
Go
stop
ahead.
you. That's not fair. That's not right. Ernie Hudson wasn't a comedian. Ernie Hudson was a really good actor who showed up in that movie.
100%.
Bill Murray was at the height of his powers. Harold Ramis, sure, he did actor. He was more of a director, writer. He was a friend with him. Dan Aykroyd, comedian.
Hilarious.
What the problem with Ghostbusters is they put 4 wacky actresses in,
Yes.
and they all were the same character, and there was nothing for them to do, and the jokes fell flat. And when you have 4 of the funniest people in a movie, and you're not falling out of your chair laughing, that is a failure. And it had nothing to do with females or anything. They had then, on top of it, took Ghostbusters and just took a dump on it. They had no respect for the source material, and then they put in
This
these bad
esteemed
cheesy
franchise
cameos, which
of
was
Ghostbusters.
offensive. No, it was
Yeah, I
a
think it's called
bad
Ghostbusters.
carbon
Worst
copy,
thing I've ever seen.
and the worst offense was its lack of actual funny jokes. And now I'm sure people out there will say, it was fine, it was funny. Sorry, your taste is poor, because that is not a fantastic comedy. There are way better, I know comedy's subjective, but it was just a very middle-of-the-line comedy, and I'm sure a lot of people were fine with it, but that was the problem. It was a fine, boring, safe comedy. For you to say Ghostbusters 1 was that is completely not true. It was an edgy, at the time, button pushing, scary.
Yeah, now
it was like a real different,
And-
changing movie. How on earth was that the same?
And
Ooh, because I was gonna say it's literally other than the PG-ness of this new one, there's so much similar about it. Again, I'm just coming at this as not a fan of that original. So
He's
I'm not
coming
gonna
out
be,
from it.
Well,
I'm
fair.
literally
And
looking-
I love you.
point of
Sorry,
view.
I'm coming hot. My
Yeah,
Truly's getting me hot. Fist bump my beard.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just more so saying I don't think because this all goes back to Sony gets so much crap for what they do.
That's what I was saying.
Sony makes a lot of mediocrity that really, if everyone else made the same movies, and a lot of people do make similar movies to what Sony does, for some reason Sony gets a lot
Sony
of
gets much more of it.
They get
That's what I was
poked a
trying to
lot.
say. That's what I was trying to
Hold
say.
on, he didn't
Even a
super
bad
chat me, but I
movie-
gotta comment the Psycho manga. Thank you, Psycho Mangus. The wonton joke was an insult to comedy. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I made
I
a point
agree.
when we did the honest trailer for that Ghostbusters.
agree that
not only
not
did we
every-
turn the comments off, which I was so glad we did, but we made a point of like they hit the wonton joke like 4 times, and it
Yeah.
wasn't funny
That was
once. And you can't do that. And there's too many talented people in that movie to do that cheesy wonton joke 4 times. That is my point if it wasn't a good comedy. But go ahead, Scarlett, you were saying.
Right, okay,
Yes,
maybe
go ahead.
Ghostbusters was not the best movie. It was just the first movie I came to mind. But what I mean is,
And
even
it was
a
Sony. It was Sony. And that
it
was
was
their fault.
yeah. But what I mean is, even a
what? Sony
bad
didn't make
movie.
a good movie?
No.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I know
okay,
we
okay.
moved on.
What I mean is, even if it's a bad movie, it's still a good movie in its own right, is what I mean to say. So even if Sony kind of failed on Spider-Man once or twice, they still have a chance to make a good movie because
Sony has made good movies. I'm
They
not
have
gonna
made good
debate
movies.
that.
I think we all started moving towards the middle.
I didn't realize that.
I think we all
Alright,
started looking at each other and went,
I want to
"Ooh."
challenge because
Together.
I agree. Everyone's coming in the middle, but I want to open the invite. All right, guys, is there anybody in the chats or anybody out there that wants to take this and see if they want to try and change? I think all of our minds because it seems like we all finally came to a point where
Yeah, we-
we
We're
don't
all just like
actually
we're kind of
agree.
agreeing.
So guys,
Sony, we're
you're
afraid for
there.
Sony. Like we're all agreeing. We're
Please
afraid for
don't,
Sony, but we don't. But we want them to succeed.
Yes,
I think we
well,
all knew
hold
this
on.
was
So I was
messy.
going to say, if you're out there, internet, I'm opening up the lines. I'm going to Google Hangout. If you know how to Google Hangout me, I'm going to open the account now. If you go to the Popcorn Planeteer, I should have spelled that out. Popcorn Planeteers is the account. Can I show that here?
I always wanted to be a planeteer.
Yeah, popcorn, like in Popcorn
just
Planet,
didn't want to.
and then the word Planeteer, which is Pete Planet. EERS, like Captain, like the Planeteers from Captain Planet. If you call into that line, I will hear you, and you will ding in, and you will be immediately connected to the show. If you are rude or insult anybody here, or you're a jerk, I will immediately cut you, and we'll stop the segment. So don't do that. But if you'd like to challenge and try and change my mind live, for the first time ever, you have now been invited. So again, send an invite, send a video chat invite to popcornedplaneteers@gmail. Obviously, if you do that, you will be streamed live on my show. So you're giving us permission to do whatever, say whatever we want to. But I will leave it on. Maybe no one will have the gall wants to do it, or maybe this won't work. But I'm logged in now. There it is. Popcornedplaneteers at Gmail. So the invite has been said. I will let us keep talking. If anybody feels the challenge, I'm going to put it in the. Actually, I'll put it in the chat. So that way you know how to spell it. But Scarlett, you were saying. Go ahead. Did you want to continue?
What I believe is, yes, we've had some kind of flops with the original Spider-Man movies. I think we all can admit that. They were kind of flops. But there was some pretty good scene. When Tobey Maguire was stopping the train with his whole body, he was trying everything he could. That's a good part.
Yeah.
That's unequivocally a great movie.
I was going to say,
in all possible metrics.
Nobody disagrees.
I was going to say, can we define flop? Because all of these were financial successes. Even Spider-Man 3, which people hate.
Even Batman vs Superman was a success.
I mean, I was
we can say that.
I was going to say, my Batman v Superman movie made bank.
Okay,
so
I'll set the bar.
I don't know about y'all's movies.
Okay, I'll set the bar. In terms of how it is to Spider-Man, does it him justice? Is it a good Spider-Man movie? Does it have the basic necessity? Not basic necessities like Uncle Ben dying or any of that. I mean, like, good for Spider-Man. Does his character well? Does his scenarios well? Let's set that bar as that, okay? How good in terms of Spider-Man?
I'm gonna be that guy and lean into which Spider-Man are we talking here, because most of these Spider people in these movies are a hodgepodge of different Spider-Man stories anyway. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Even
Tom Holland is all Bendis. It's all Miles is Bendis, or all Bendis is Miles. The best beats of Tom Holland.
I'd argue that the new, if you did this Tom Holland Spider-Man without the MCU, it's kind of like doing a fourth reboot of Peter Parker. Honestly.
But why?
But it's not a reboot.
Because he's out of the MCU, so you might as well. You got to write a lot of stuff. You can't say anything that the MCU has previously said in these movies.
Other than
say any brand specific thing.
Other than the snap, what?
Other than the snap?
I will
Which
say
is
this.
a big deal. I'll give you that. The snap's a pretty big deal, but other than the snap,
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
Yeah, and then they've
Half the
addressed it. The
population.
5-year time jump, they're done.
And they only spoke about it in this movie a little bit.
And the last half of Far From Home stopped talking about the snap. It became about them losing Tony Stark.
It came up a lot. It did come up a lot.
It became
like the
a-
opening scene. Was
I said in the
beginning, in the
last
half,
half.
yeah.
It's
In the last
already
half
been
of Far From
addressed,
Home.
though.
Yeah, it's been addressed. It's been dropped now.
Yes, absolutely.
It's fine.
but-
We can progress from it.
Okay.
Again, I'm asking the MCU to progress from things,
So
which
you're
will constantly reference
saying
things.
poor Tom Holland has to just forget that his mentor Tony Stark just died and never mention it ever again.
He can
Let's
have
not
those
act like
beats.
Because
Not to mention-
because in all those three Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, he does mention Uncle Ben. You can act like he doesn't, but he does. So
In most of
it's
the
a pivotal
instances-
part of his character. So we're gonna like, okay, this was his Uncle Ben for this universe. We're not gonna mention him ever again, and it's
even
gonna
if
work.
even
But
even
that wasn't that the primary draw from Homecoming, though?
Well,
Weren't we as a community tired of Uncle Ben dying in the first 5 minutes of every
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man
Thank you
movie?
to Marvel for changing that up.
All I'm getting at is this: we understand who Spider-Man is as a zeitgeist, as a people on Earth. No one has
But
failed to understand who Spider-Man is at this
did
point.
Sony do that, or was that Marvel's hand in the director's hand that changed it? Like, we
Congratulations,
get it.
Marvel made an effective decision,
Oh.
but that's not what we're talking
Did Sony
about.
not
here.
make one previously?
They
That's
have.
what
They
we're talking
established
about.
Spider-Man. We all know
Thanks to
Spider-Man.
Marvel. Our point is.
So,
But here's the thing.
So
you
Sony.
have to admit. Here's the thing. I'm going to pay with this.
Yeah.
You have to admit the comics before the movies weren't getting as much love as they were now.
But there was an animated series that was an iconic animated series.
The 90s
that started
Spider-Man
so
TV
much-
show
But
is
I will
one
say-
of the best
So I
animated
will say
series of
this-
all time.
No, I will say this. How many people actually watched cartoons in the 90s? There's this
I
whole
would say my whole
controversy.
generation.
Put that in the chat.
Yes.
Put that in the chat.
I'm
Chat,
not
make
gonna-
noise.
we all-
Yeah.
No, I
watched the
know.
90s Spider-Man
I mean,
cartoon.
a lot of us millennials
That and the
did, but a
X-Men
lot of
box.
people.
Fire. Oh
I
my
meant
God.
a lot of people that can actually
Harsh,
buy
opening
it.
theme of all time.
I will say this: a lot of us people who
No.
grew up with this, we could do it because we could sit down
Why?
and watch it with our parents. Whereas our parents,
That's hilarious.
not so much.
I'm
Yeah.
distracted. Sorry.
People that could buy the merch and
Deserved.
financially
The
fund them,
internet.
they didn't have time to sit down and watch them unless they actually made time.
But-
You also got to understand the people that are going to these movies aren't our parents. They're us.
Exactly. That's what
Taking their
All right,
kids.
I want to call out a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I got one troll who called, but I don't know if I'm doing this right. So if you guys tell me in the comments if you're trying. I want to get to Scott Poole. Thank you for that super chat. Awesome. Conspiracy theory. Anyone else think this is a hype ploy for them to announce that they have come to a last minute agreement to boost enthusiasm for some new announced project at D23?
Possibly.
Absolutely no. Absolutely not.
Remember what I said?
Why would they risk
So
their stock
before we
going
started
up
this,
for
I
that?
do want to say a little thing. We don't know if this is true or not. This is just a rumor. But before we started this, I had actually said, did you hear about the latest news, which is Sony is rethinking on the deal now. I do want to, since this conspiracy theory is, let's go ahead and stir the pot a bit.
And I will say something to the conspiracy theory. Look at all the Henry Cavill drama with Superman, where his manager came out and said he doesn't want to be Superman anymore. And then there was so much back and forth with Warner Brothers and Henry Cavill very publicly negotiating to get that fan support, to get people going, no, I want Cavill. So I do think sometimes some companies can go in and be like, hey,
let's
we're
get a
gonna,
little drama
let's get
to
a little
boost up our
drama to do this.
movies.
Absolutely. None of these companies are enemies. Let's get that one thing straight. I don't think anyone's really beefing in the sense.
No.
This isn't like a
think-
Disney Warner Brothers beef.
honestly,
I
That's
think
like-
Disney's concerned about that bottom line. I think Disney
Yes.
is leaning on Sony so hard. I think Disney
yeah.
understands it, even at the cost for now, because nothing is going on in particular, at the cost of their bottom line temporarily. They know that Sony can't handle that same volatility. They don't have the same pockets Disney does, and Disney knows that. I
Well,
think
Sony has pockets.
they got pockets.
I was about to say
they have pockets,
They
but they're
made
not
more.
as deep as Disney's. We can all agree.
They
with that.
made more revenue last year as a whole
call.
company than Disney did.
as a whole company.
Yeah, as a whole company.
You
Though
gotta count
Sony
the
has
hardware
like
stuff, yeah.
PlayStation and all that and stuff, but I don't
TVs.
know about their actual. No,
Yeah.
no one's making
Forgot
Disney
you made
movie
here.
money.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Yes,
As Disney.
yeah.
No,
Like
we can agree on that.
talking
I
about-
get it.
Oh no,
Like, honestly, I'm gonna say this right now. I really like your guys' points and arguments. I'm leaning more towards your side right now.
I don't want to say we stole you.
Like,
Is that
But-
the way?
Because we're the right side. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm leaning more.
No, but
Because
I
the more-
think you guys brought a point.
I'm
and I don't-
standing my ground. I ain't going no.
And I don't think you're wrong at all by saying that he is integral. I do think there's points you have. It's not like I'm like you're
Thank
stupid
you.
and wrong.
Thank you.
but I'm also
No, you guys
saying
make
You're
good
you're
points
just
there.
debating. You
yeah.
are
It's
debating
and it's
what
interesting
we
to
are.
see that we all kind of had the same like. Well, look, this is all messy. This ain't perfect, but we all kind of see.
But we
there-
don't want Sony to do it, but you want Sony to try.
Yeah,
You
at
don't want-
least
yeah.
why not? Again,
You know what?
because
you know what? I
and
agree.
if they mess up with
Well,
one
then go over
movie,
there.
you can always get them back in a couple years.
What if what
I
if
mean,
this is
I'm-
All
Fashion
right,
Spider-Man?
let's try and keep the conversation
that.
going.
I
Everyone's
like
in
that Spider-Man
agreement.
video
We're
game.
moving forward. I see it.
Yeah.
I was trying to get
let's get some
hold-
fresh
shh.
meat in.
Yeah, well, I tried. No one seems to want to even fight me on the phone. So sorry, I'll leave it. There's one guy trying to send me anime porn.
Yeah, thanks
I
for
mean,
that.
okay, we saw it. Thanks, you won. I'm not going to put it on the air until I verify you're a normal person. So you lose. Ha ha. But guys, last chance. Call in there. I'll leave it open. If somebody, come on, have the guts to call. We will challenge you and have a good conversation. But I want to. There was one other comment here, which was from a super chatter that I wanted to make sure I missed. Thank you so much for saying that in. It was from Master Penguin. Bring back Toby for a cameo. I mean, that to me is where I want to sort of end and wrap this up, because I feel like that is where we all sort of see agreement. Is that not the coolest version of a Spider-Man movie if they just turn the Spider-Verse open and then Tobey Maguire is older Spider-Man and Tom
Delivered.
Holland
Yeah,
meets
I
him?
agree,
I mean,
but I agree
who
with
would
that.
not want to
Hold
see
on real
that?
quick.
That is actually confirmed that Tom
Into
Holland
the mic.
Spider-Man. Oh, sorry. You know, it's actually confirmed that Tom Holland Spider-Man is actually the Spider-Man we see in the actual Peter Parker Spider-Man that we see inside Multiverse.
Yeah.
I'm fine
The
with
one
that.
that dies. Yeah.
The one that
yeah.
dies. Yeah. Wait, what? I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
Come on.
I'm messing with you. I've seen it. I would not be here debating if
No, and-
I hadn't seen
I know.
it.
One thing. Oh, whoops, sorry.
I'm
No.
sorry.
Yeah,
Oh no,
Go ahead,
I
Kate,
was
yeah.
just gonna say, like, you know, if whether or not you grew up with like the original Spider-Man, you're gonna want to see that whole cameo where he comes in the movie and then they all introduce each other. I don't know, the whole multiverse, like,
We all want to see that.
Yeah,
exactly,
that's-
the whole multiverse,
we
like,
can agree on that one.
idea is
Absolutely.
just like it could just open up so many things, and I just think they can do so much more with it.
Only question I have is Toby old enough to be Uncle Ben in a flashback?
Oh god.
We've never seen Uncle Ben in this universe. I don't want to say Marissa Tomei and Toby could be a couple because
Like, just
Marissa
have-
Tomei
I'd
is
I'd
too
rather
beautiful
see
for
Toby
that.
as Spider-Man.
Oh,
I was just saying,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I was like,
me
if
too.
we didn't
rather
need to
see
do a
that.
multiverse, if we were just keeping him in the MCU especially, I was like, that's the only way I would see Toby is like, let him be Uncle Ben in a flashback. I want to see Toby in a not forced of like, he's old man Spider-Man. Unless we do it, it'd
Let's
be
get
fine.
a picture of
But
them when they're younger
yes,
or
if that would be
something
really
like
cool,
that.
I'd be like, oh, look at Toby just hitting Marissa Tomei.
I like this
You know what would
Lucky.
be awesome? You know what would be an awesome thing?
Hold
to
on,
do?
hold on.
Is if they
Shh,
actually
wait.
had Andrew
One chill.
Garfield as,
One.
like,
Well, I
that.
was just gonna say one chill. Broad just gave me a fun. They said, what if they all come in, all the Spider-Man, and they all just rag on Garfield? Ha!
Okay, I'm gonna say this
I
right
like
now.
that idea.
I'm gonna say this right now. I think as we stated is Andrew Garfield was best Spider-Man,
No.
but Tobey Maguire was best Peter Parker.
Oh, here we go. I got
Can
a
we
call.
establish that?
I got a call.
Negatory
we got
Ghost
one.
Rider.
No,
Oh,
I
I know
love
this
Garfield
dude.
Spider-Man.
All right, does this
specifically. I
work?
can
Here we
respect
go.
that.
Yeah, like
What's up? Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you, but you can you see me?
We can all see
All
you
right.
now. All right, there you are. All right, Don, thank you. I didn't even tell you to, but you were paying attention. Turn down your audio a little bit so I'm not as echoey. Let's see. You want to fight? You think Sony needs doesn't need him as much as or Sony needs Spider-Man more than Disney does?
Sony needs MCU.
Thank you, Adon.
Yeah, I'm down for Disney being still with Sony. Let's be honest. I would love to see, like, as a FU kind of moment, Disney just goes like, okay, we're gonna do a big disaster on New York City's, right in Brooklyn's, right next to Peter Parker's house, and then let Sony do a movie try to answer for what happens next.
Hmm.
You know,
That'd be cool.
but basically, Spider-Man, as big as a universe that he is, and the animated series that Sony did with him, heavily involves with the MCU. Spider-Man is literally a
What I was
central
saying.
character within the MCU.
Right, but not within the Sonyverse, as we said. I don't know if you watched it all. The only real connection is Iron Man. There's no one else in the Marvel world that Spider-Man needs, and Iron Man's dead.
He doesn't really need, but they influence his world.
How? He was running away
Like,
from
they had
Fury
the
and
Avengers
everybody in part
situation
2.
That happened. They talk
That
about that.
wasn't
They
even
have
Fury.
Captain America's videos showing up in there.
Yeah,
They-
all
they're
Easter eggs and
influencing Spider-Man's
cameos.
world.
Yeah, but that's all cameos, man. That's not the story. The end of Spider-Man 2 is him swinging around New York, finally being Spider-Man. Don't you want to see him finally be Spider-Man? He doesn't need Thor. He doesn't need anybody from that world. He just needs his friends and a good villain and J. Jonah Jameson.
yeah.
All the good villains
And
that
MJ.
he has, they're going to be nice standalone villains on it, but they're going to fall on the same habits that they had on before. The part that gave him spice and gave him life was the fact that they made him different from the other Spider-Man.
By having him have Tony Stark-based villains. Both villains are Tony Stark-based villains. Like, both of them have beef with Tony before. I really wish he's never been able to be a solo character, and I really think this is such a disservice to him to, like, not be like, well, we'll just stick him in the MCU. Like, he's better than that. He has Silver Sable to deal with, Black Cat. There's so much he could do in his own universe that I'm like, let him play.
You know what? I'm
I
gonna say
want
this right
the
now.
Craven the Hunter.
But
I
he's
wanna
not going to
see,
be able
you know,
to play with
going-
his
going
other
to
characters.
the,
Like, one of the
to
great
Tony
things
Stark.
that
Hold on,
they
hold on,
had,
hold
like,
on. Scarlett, wait.
Oh,
He's
go ahead.
talking. Go ahead. What are you saying, Don?
I'm so sorry.
So one of the great things, like, and it was a great reference when you guys said, like, oh, he had his own anime series and he did so well in the anime series. Yes, but one of the reasons why he did so well is because he had variety. The anime series for Spider-Man was great because it was one of the earliest series where you could have crossover events that no one ever saw. Spider-Man is a character that is influencing other types, like not just the Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, all the franchises that now Disney owns are properties and items that Spider-Man can influence and be a part of. Even Defenders and items, like where he's interacting with Doctor Strange and going in with Daredevil and all those other characters. They're sent. So basically, we're going back to ground zero where he's going to be isolating to himself. And yes, he may do well on his own individual movie, and the Spider-Verse will potentially be an item that they can go into. But then you're going to run into the same thing that everybody complains about with the Flash, which is now we got nothing but spiders, and we got nothing but people having to do with this because it's all spider, 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 and we have no variety. Go ahead.
Hello? Yo, what up, guys? So I wanted to give my thoughts on this current Spider-Man issue.
Do it.
Honestly, I want Spider-Man to go back to Sony.
Yes.
Why?
My issue, because I'm tired of Iron Boy. I don't want to see Iron Boy anymore. Me and my brother, we were talking about this news downstairs yesterday, and he told me he's absolutely disgusted with what happened, what's been going on with Spider-Man. And I've been thinking about it, and I was rewatching, Far From Home. Hello?
Yeah, can you keep going?
Yeah. So I've been rewatching Far From Home with by myself,
His audio.
and I realized that this is not a good movie. This is not Spider-Man. This is Iron Lad. When are we gonna see a real Spider-Man?
Who is Iron Lad? Did you
Tom
guys?
Holland.
Hold on. Are you guys not hearing anything in that thing? I wish you guys had known that
I
sooner.
am.
No,
hearing
but
you.
you're not.
You can hear me now?
Hold
I
on.
can
You
hear
hold
him.
on. I'm
Yeah.
trying to make sure I have this 4 shot. I did it. I always test it. This shot seems to be.
because they do see the Iron Boy stuff like that.
Hold on. Everybody, bear with me. Lose. Audio. There we go. All right, it should be working. Do you guys hear it now? Hopefully, you guys hear him now. Anyway, go ahead. Now we can hear it now. Perfect. Go ahead. Now you're good.
Thank you. As I was saying, my brother, we used to watch Spider-Man movies together. This time, he did not watch Far From Home with me, and I asked him why. He told me Tom Holland's Spider-Man sucks. He does not. He is sick of the teenage. He's a bigger fan of the PS4 Spider-Man than what we're getting in the movies. Do you understand?
That's an argument.
That's ridiculous. And then when I watched it by myself, I came out disgusted. Like, what is this? They play the Tony Stark song when he's making his new suit. What the hell is this?
That was a
Why
little
is-
strange. That's a good point, man. They didn't
Why
need the
why are they
ACDC
playing
stuff.
Set them up
song
as
in
the
a
new Tony
Spider-Man
Stark, and they're trying to
movie?
get you to
Like,
connect
what the
the two.
hell? Is this? I thought I was watching a Spider-Man movie. I didn't think this was like another Iron Man movie.
Yeah, an Iron Man 2.0.
Yeah.
That I
made
agree
him
with.
So
That I agree
Iron
with.
Man based that it hurt him, and I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think it really could have hurt.
I miss the days when me and him could watch Spider-Man movies together. I miss those days, and I'm actually really happy Sony realized that 50-50, share thing was stupid, and they jumped ship. Good on them. Good on them. Maybe we can start watching real Spider-Man movies again.
My dude gave him a full.
Yeah,
clap.
I look good. Good. What was your name again? Thank you, man. What do you want me to call you?
You can just call me Wilma.
Wilma?
Yeah.
All right, Wilma. Wilma.
I'm sorry. You don't understand. I used to like the Tom Holland movies. Like, here's the thing. I was with the crowd who liked Tom Holland. Here's the thing. I know Spider-Man, but my brother, he's like a hardcore Spider-Man, When we watched Far From Home together, even though I enjoyed it, he hated that movie so much that I went to go watch Far From Home by myself. He didn't watch Homecoming. Like, it's ridiculous. I know.
I don't think that's the problem. But
Can we go ahead and establish
I
that you
used to
do
precious
not
angel baby.
hate
I will never talk
Tom?
bad about Tom
Exactly.
Holland.
Hold on.
You do not
Wilma,
hate
hold
Tom
on.
Holland. You
I
just hate
don't have a
Spider-Man
problem
Tom
with
Holland.
I don't hate Tom Holland as a
I hate his
person,
movies.
but him as Spider-Man,
Exactly.
it's
He's
like
adorable.
I'm
He's
sick of this boo ass kid Spider-Man.
You're sick.
When
Hold
are
on,
we
hold on.
gonna-
Shh. It's Scarlett. I can't hear him if you guys will talk. Say that again. You guys too. Shh.
I'm
last
I
thought
don't
there.
hate Tom Holland. I don't hate Tom Holland, but I'm sick. And me and him, we're sick of this boo ass kid Spider-Man. We're sick of that.
That's Spider-Man though, dude. He is a kid.
But we've seen Spider-Man also go to college.
Yeah, he's gonna. Tom Holland's gonna grow up,
so
man. He's
it-
about to graduate high
Nah,
school.
nah,
Andy, he didn't make a point about Sony or Disney. He just doesn't like Tom Holland.
Yeah, he doesn't like Tom Holland. So anyway, but you had some good thoughts there. I appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
calling
I
in,
really
man. Call in next week. We'll try this again and have a
Yo,
good night.
sure. Have a
Good
good
job.
night.
Wilma. Anyway, thank you, man. That was fun. Wilma.
I forgot this thing turns on its own.
Yeah, it does. All right, there was one other person you called. I'm just trying to see if I can get to you. If not, we'll. I don't know. Whoa.
Turns on its own.
Oh, that's the glove. All right, here we
There's people getting
go.
snapped, brought
Oh,
back
what is
again.
this?
Oh, bro. Could you
Hold
imagine?
on.
You remember that scene in Dragon Ball Abridged where
Hold
Krillin's
on.
like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you die and you're not sure
Did
if
she
you're still
actually-
dying or if your life's flashing before you.
Except.
Sensumi.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We got
Yes.
I
Is she
yelled at
there?
my homie.
Oh, this will be epic. I meant to tell. Let's see if this one actually works because someone I really wanted to talk to is on. Is she going to pick up though? Calling. Done. All right. So anyway, as I hope this last caller will be. This will be fun if she picks up, but I don't know if she's going to pick up. Do. This is a theme. So overall, it seems like we're all sort of in agreement. Even the audience is sort of in agreement. I was trying to get this one. I thought I turned that sound off. Unknown. That's not the answer. Here, does this work?
Someone said Danny DeVito as Spider-Man in the chat, and I'm here for him being Spider-Ham.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, hold on.
You look like Danny
Hello?
Vito because you look like him.
I literally am.
Movie fights.
I'm just Frank from It's Always Sunny, so I am not upset by that. Like, I
Very
have
funny
a
show.
toe knife, so it's fine. Like,
I'm trying one more time.
rum hand
Come
is
on.
my drink.
That's TW.
All right, let's go, caller.
Pick up caller.
Remix final.
Come on.
Is that this one? No.
Oh, there we
yes, she's there.
Oh,
Hey, all right. Have you been watching?
I had them watching.
Oh, I love
Guys,
this.
that's
I think
great.
people are gonna be very surprised. Guys, hold on. Let me.
It's a
let
family
me put
show,
this
guy.
up. Hold on. Let me put this
I'll
up.
be nice, I
Oh, you'll be
swear.
nice. Okay, guys, do you know who this is?
Yes, everyone loves me so much.
Oh, this is
The girl who tried to come
Yes.
for you. I like
Yes.
this girl.
This
Yes,
was the
my
one who-
queen.
She came at me.
Yes. Yeah, no problem. How are you guys doing? What is it? I don't even. Am I meant to be able to see you guys? Because I totally can't. I don't know if I'm meant to be able to see you. Okay. Okay, cool.
Go ahead. Can you talk for a second, Scarlett, over there, while I shut this off?
It showed up on the chat.
What showed up? Oh, the picture did? Well, it is what it is.
Hi.
He did get it in? All right, here we go. I got it. All right, this should be good. Everyone stop calling. I got Wish.
Okay, awesome.
Wish is amazing because she was on Change My Mind, and everyone, I loved Wish. I loved talking to her. She was dressed as Lulu Dallas Multipass. I had to make your own video because you just did not like me for having a penis. Let's be honest.
It was
I
great.
know, apparently, like, rewatching it, I did reference genitalia quite a bit, which I didn't even realize until watching it. So, but hey,
I
that's
think-
how it is.
Is it
Whatever,
safe to say
know?
you were enjoying your con? You might have had a drink or two. You were there having fun.
Maybe one or two. There were a couple of bars on the floor. What are you gonna do? As a convention, you gotta have a good time.
Yes.
I'm not gonna argue that. But
Well,
I enjoy talking. I don't care. Like, I got a lot of hate for it, but it's the internet. It's what happens.
It is what happens. So thank you for doing that, chat. I'm glad we could connect again. For those that watch, a lot of people watch that. Go watch Change My Mind, Black Widow. Who cares about the Black Widow movie? Wish really wanted to change my mind, and she did her best. But let's talk about this subject. So do you think that the Spider-Man that Sony who needs Spider-Man more, Disney or Sony?
I honestly, at this point, it's really all Sony has. If I'm being honest, I mean, watching your arguments, you're both making really good points. Overall, I don't like the way they spun the most recent Spider-Man movies because I do agree it was like he was Tony Stark's bitch, pretty much. He didn't have his own personality. Spider-Man's such a big character in himself, and he wasn't given that justification as a character to have his own storylines. That being said, I do think now that if they proceed in the way where they're going to cut ties, we're burning a lot of bridges with characters that I know his main connection was with Tony Stark, but other than that, if they do continue this way, we're losing those connections with characters that could come on further on in the story.
So wait. So you're saying Sony or Disney? Who's ultimately what you're picking?
I honestly, I wanted to have it back to where it was, where both companies had input in the storyline. I feel like either way they're going to go in the same. Either way they're going to go in the same line. Where Tony Stark's gone now, so even if Disney was still involved, they still have the opportunity now to focus on Spider-Man because they don't have to focus on Iron Man anymore because he's gone.
He's dead. Yes.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
So either way, they're going to focus on Spider-Man, whether it's Sony or it's Disney. They both have the opportunity to do that. Why not just utilize both of those companies and make the best story possible rather than just picking sides?
Well, I mean, that's obviously the right. Yes, of course. No company should be greedy. I think we all agree. Yeah, guys, work it out and figure it out. But the point is they're not. And then the question is, who needs it more? And I guess what I'm trying to challenge further, because what you're saying is fair. What is it? Is it going to, like, don't you want to see a Spider-Man movie where he's just Spider-Man and he doesn't have to team up with anybody else?
Yeah, but now Marvel can do that.
Right, but you're saying so you're saying Disney needs Marvel more than Sony.
Disney needs Marvel more.
Disney's MCU needs Spider-Man to team up with. I'm saying Spider-Man in Sony's universe doesn't need an Avenger right now. He can go make his own movie.
You guys been arguing. Oh, there's not going to be any more team.
Well, hold on. I just want to get her thought. You've said your thought. Hold on. I'm just trying to make, because I don't know if she's paid attention, Ian. I'm recapping for her. Wish, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just think with everything, and even you guys were talking about the Spider-Verse and everything, I do think I want to give Sony the opportunity at that point, but honestly, I think Spider-Man's all they have, and
right, but I'm trying to get to the point. Yeah, so Sony needs him more. Why though? I'm just trying to put so I'm clear. Why needs him more? Why? Because they need Avenger cameos.
What else are they going to utilize? What other characters do they have to utilize?
Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales. I mean, every awesome Spider-Man villain, the Sinister Six. There's a lot of characters they have currently that they could team up. Venom. There are characters Spider-Man can do for another few movies, and probably wrap up.
Agent Venom.
J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, they do have a lot. My point is, what MCU character needs to be with Spider-Man for the Sony version to work?
Sorry, I didn't hear that last bit. I just heard
stop calling, Junu. I can't. We're on a show, and you're interrupting it. Dude, get a clue. You know.
Sorry, I'm like.
This guy knows. This guy, go away.
I'm like, what?
Stop. We are on air with someone else. You're watching me.
You gotta go to the fix.
Like, go away. Stop calling, you idiots. Like, stop. Oh my God, get a clue. And then this guy keeps sending those just to troll me. We won't be doing this again. Here we go. No, but now I'm back to. I turned it off. It's not. They don't see it, Ian. I turned all that off. There we go. All right, now we're back.
Okay.
It's okay. It's all right. Yeah. I just think collectively it's better to have more opinions in this and get more Ray, I know you keep getting calls. Just because honestly I feel more minds work better in this situation and having more inputs, especially having so many people in the Marvel franchise that have been in the business for so long and have a lot more expertise and have brought out a lot more movies and have that experience, whereas Sony has relied on Spider-Man so much. And if we go back to the older ones, I keep ringing it. I don't know if you're talking.
No, I'm listening to you. I'm trying to turn the talk because I set that thing to turn off the bringer where they're just being jerks now. But I wanted to just try and give you an end, but they can try and ruin it. It just looks mean for them.
I see both sides. I'm not saying I'm pro Disney, pro Sony. Either way, in a happy world, I hope they could all just get together and like make a movie together. And maybe this is just for publicity and everything else. But regardless, the next movies that come out have to not include, well, probably like some sort of backstory, but they don't have to include Iron Man anymore because he's dead. So why can't we just focus on both of them doing it? I know Disney's getting greedy with this big company and they're trying to get their cut, but at the same time, I'd rather everyone's input rather than focusing and relying on solely. That's okay.
Noise, but they keep starting to it. But Wish, well, let's get you in studio at some point soon so we can have this in person because you're awesome. I think surprised a lot of people, and so yeah, you're the best. Thank you. Bye. Boop, boop, boop. Not letting them ruin my show. Not letting them ruin my show. They are just the jerks. But I appreciate calling. Yeah, I wish I could. Who is the guy? Is it this guy? Let's talk to him.
Let's talk.
This guy? Is this the one?
No, it's
this guy.
Yeah.
Let's talk to the troll. Hey, guy.
Let's talk to a troll.
Let's do it.
I got you, bro. What's up?
All right, what's
Let's
up,
talk
man?
to trolls.
Hey,
Under
we
the
left.
bridge.
Coward.
Here
I thought you had stones,
I
bro.
give you the opportunity to actually be on my show and really just turn it into a disaster, and you don't have the balls to actually call? That's lame, man.
I don't know. Someone is still calling.
That is really, really, really lame. Cancel. All right, we cancel. And Dan, this is so fun. I don't even know where it's coming from now.
This is
thought
a
I got
dope
rid of
beat.
them.
Do a freestyle right quick.
I got you, G.
All right.
Son.
Oh well, I tried to get the
Hashtag
troll on.
stereotypes.
I've closed it. They can't call anymore.
Well, sorry.
so
Thanks
the
to
ring's
those
done.
guys. We can't
But
do
hey,
it no
thanks
more.
guys. Yeah, that was fun. I hope you feel better about yourselves because you need a little attention there. Why didn't you just call? Do you have? So anyway, thank you. We got some super chats. We're gonna change the subject here. We hit that a lot, but thank you for bearing with me, guys. We'll try that again. If somebody knows Discord, please try. I tried for like 3 hours today to get the Discord because apparently then you can actually stop
get my
people and do it correctly. So if anybody knows Discord, come educate with me because I tried to create a server there. You can help me. Okay.
I'll get my brother to
Because
help
I couldn't figure it out in the time to do the show, so I had to do what we did. And of course, someone took advantage and is a jerk. So, haha, you showed me. Anyway, let's talk about. I really don't care. Is the problem? You're just an idiot. Find better things to do. All right. So I wanted to go through because I got a couple super chats to thank for your comments. Sorry for not getting them sooner. And thank you, Wish, for calling. Peter Parker will change his name and move. Get prepared for Tom Holland as Jake Johnson in the Acronym Man, legally not Spider-Man Marvel movie. Haha. Thank you, Ferdinando. That's a good pitch.
Wasn't he the Night Monkey or whatever in
Yes.
Far From Home? He could just use that name now. It works.
Yes.
It was great for him.
And hold on, there was a couple more. Thank you. I'm scrolling through to get through so I don't miss anybody who sent me. Barry C., do you have any tips for channel growth? Yeah, I don't because I'm trying my best. I mean, make a viral video where you can expose your liar and get a lot of attention. That seemed to help me a little bit. Save those receipts, guys. Not really the way I wanted to get the growth, but I knew that would help because at least if I could tell the truth, people wouldn't say things. So my point, though, is like I needed something to sort of get my cred back, but then also get a viral spike to help get that. So that's really what's helping the growth now, as I've gotten some subscribers. But it's a really tough game. Ian, you can speak to this too. You're a channel person. Like it's hard now when you're starting out on the channels because the algorithm won't give you any love.
Absolutely, man. I'm trying my best. I'm trying not to be that average. Hey, let's be all hype and do whatever, people want you to do. I'm trying to be myself, but at the same time, it's not about me. So I understand it's really tough, but props to you for letting me on that live show because it did help my subscriber.
Ooh,
good.
So I really appreciate that.
Of course, man. Anytime. Let's do one on yours.
Right
Tips, you just got to be yourself, man. I guess the biggest tip I always give is
yourself,
have a
absolutely.
genuine voice. There's a lot of people right now who are just regurgitating the same crap over and over again, and they're just trying to give you keywords and stuff. And so I'm trying to find ways to get through that, to have fun with you and be honest and be more fun and call bullshit out. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm also becoming a little more
Can I have
centered.
a
EJ, yeah, what's your tip?
Yeah, I have a channel. I'm just about to hit not a lot of numbers, but 2K, which is hard to do on a small organic growth.
Congrats.
And my big thing is talk about what you want to talk about. I spent years trying to talk about superhero movies, even though I like them. They're not my favorite thing. So once I started talking about horror movies, American Horror Story, my channel grew. So find what you like to do and do that.
It's true. People can tell.
Yes, and they feel it. So just do what you want to do. Like
100%.
it helps so much.
I actually do have a comment to make about this as well.
Yes.
So I'm actually I'm actually about to start my own, and one person who is helping me is a very good friend. He's the one that lent me the Infinity Gauntlet.
Talk to the mic.
Oh,
Yep.
so sorry, I keep forgetting. He's the one that lent me the Infinity Gauntlet, and he just says, just don't care. People hate him, and people don't like him, and he just says, just don't care, because at the end of the day, their opinions will not influence the people that actually like you.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have to say is a good opinion, is a good tip too, and that's coming from someone who actually does have his own YouTube channel too.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's just be yourself. Be yourself. Have a voice that's yours, because that's the only thing that's going to be genuine in your story. So when you're doing your channel, don't just regurgitate and just say, "Well, they're all doing this, and I love movies, so I'm going to do exactly what they're doing." You're gonna have a tough time because there's so many. I mean, I'm in that same boat right now where I was an inspiration to a lot of channels, and now I'm back at the bottom with all the channels, competing with them, trying to like dig up myself. So it's humbling, but it's I think that's what's in me. I want to do it, and I'm trying to find a new voice, and I have a voice that's respected by some. So I'm obviously have that, but you need to find your secret advantage. What do you know about? What do you like? What do you do that some people don't? And lean into that. And when you have a success, hit it again and run down that path. When you have one video that works, you got to follow up. Spider-Man worked for me. You notice I'm doing 3 Spider-Man videos. They're all doing well.
Yep.
Barry C., thank you for that. Because Master Penguin asked my contribution. Oh, thank you. He wanted to contribute to make sure Wish can come in the studio someday. Yes, that'll help.
Please.
If anybody else would like to super chat,
She was
we'll
cool.
I'll get Wish here and buy her a drink. So Send it over. She's, I think, she's in Florida too, but not nearby, but close enough that we'll make that happen. Jeff Smith, thank you for that. He says, in my opinion, Sony holds all cards. Honestly, what does Marvel have after getting rid of Cap and Iron Man? Marvel needs Spider-Man. I mean, I think, yeah, they have a lot. Yeah, man. Let's not. They're gonna make another $1 billion. They have Black Panther. They have Guardians of the Galaxy. They're gonna do another Thor. They're gonna do okay.
It's like the MCU doesn't need him.
I think they need Spider-Man. I want to make a bet.
Doesn't sound like that.
Let's make a bet. Let's make a Phase 4 bet.
Let's make a Phase 4 bet, Andy Signor.
Let's make a Phase 4 bet. I don't know how to quantify it though.
Well, I'm gonna say this right now. I think I belong on that side.
Good.
I think I belong.
You want to stand up and say
I'll stand alone.
We don't have enough room, but yes, you're there in spirit.
I'm there in spirit.
But I want to figure out a bet at some point where we can bet, because I don't think Phase 4 will be as successful and popular as we all think.
Okay, if you put it at that bar, yes, but I think it'll be okay. I think you're shutting something down before it even starts.
Do we think Black Widow the movie will make $1 billion?
No.
Probably not.
Because I would say I don't think it's
gonna be better.
If it does, it'll be a pleasant
But will it make $1
surprise.
billion?
No, but does that mean it's not a success?
Kinda.
For Disney, yeah.
For a Disney movie.
This is how spoiled we are as a society. If it doesn't make $1 billion, it's not a success.
I'm
Get
not.
the fuck out
I'm
You
not
gotta
saying
compare
that.
stuff to its contemporaries, though, man.
Yeah,
a terrible thing.
and that's Disney's motto. They have openly said we are in the blockbuster business. That's why they don't make awards pictures. Although now with Fox Searchlight, they're in the blockbuster. If they're not making $1 million,
that is the Transformers franchise. They all make buttloads of money. They're one of the worst movies ever. It's all stupid.
Which is great because that proves the MCU is not always great, even if they make billions dollars.
But your argument is the success is making $1 billion.
I'm saying that's Disney's idea of success. That's Disney's idea.
Yeah.
That's usual industry. When they're putting almost $500 million into a film, they need $1 billion. Like you are putting that. I wish it wasn't like this. I'm a fan of a $100,000 film doing great. So I like those kind of films. So I think Disney's in a blockbuster business. They need these $1 billion movies. That's why this Spider-Man movie hitting $1 billion was such a big deal for them.
And you think they could do that without Marvel's help?
Do I think Sony can do that?
To make $1 billion.
We'll see. $800 million with Venom.
I
will say $800 million with Venom is not bad. That is a good thing for an original.
What's the?
$800 million. Still not a
it's not $1 billion, but you think that's a success? What are we doing here?
Because that's Sony. That's Sony. That film cost $80 million to make. That is way less than an MCU movie.
So it didn't make $1 billion, so it's not a success.
All right, you're being intellectually dishonest here.
I was saying,
I'm saying with the company, like the company's ideal
shareholders,
is to get much money. They want to be able to it's like when you okay, never mind. But okay, I can't think. There was okay, anyways. Okay, so
Katie, come on, elaborate.
Please shut me down with my stupid comment.
Okay, sir.
I'm waiting.
You're wrong because
yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna slap you.
Sir, I can't call you ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. They're the companies, not the viewers, not the fans. It's not their ideal, but it's the company's ideal because they want to make more than what they spent because they're trying to make a profit. I know they're just trying to make the profit, so they need to. It's on.
You really got to focus on, in a conversation like this.
Yes, I get it.
You not the profit specifically. You really got to focus on specifically what you want your signifiers for success to be. We know that most of the late model Marvel movies are the same general level of good with some serious standouts, right?
Yeah.
So how do you compare the ones that have been exceptional? You look at how much they made, and then you discuss the finer details of the movie itself, right? You got to have both of those in the conversation. We're not saying no movie is successful if it fails to make $1 billion. We're saying that's how.
I think that is what you guys said.
No, I'm saying
that's word for word what you said.
That's Disney's motto.
That's what Disney.
Yeah, I mean, we're going in circles. Ian, you're wrong. Disney shareholders consider a success $1 billion.
They need these.
That is absolutely what Disney.
I think a perfect example of this is like Invader. Is like the TV series that we had growing up. My Life as a Teenage Robot, Invader Zim. I mean, they don't.
Gendy Tarkovsky.
Exactly. We see them as successes because to us they were memorable. They were with us, but the companies didn't because they didn't make them as much money. But we can all argue that they were successes because of the storylines that they did, the dedication that they had, and everything. So I think that's what we value as successes. Because again, and that goes back to movies as well. What we value as successes, are not what Disney shareholders value.
Yes, I agree. So I want to move on because this is a moot point. But the point is, yes, I don't think it's going to make $1 billion, which to me is not a success for the Disney shareholders. Fernando wants me to say support Tulsi Gabbard for president. I don't know who that is. EJ, you know who that is?
She's okay. She's like middle of the road Democrat, average Democrat. She's not the cool witch lady that we have, that Marion lady who's like
Marion Williams.
Yeah,
she's
I adore someone who just wants to
fun.
do like hippie witch lady stuff in the moon. Fine.
She's like, here's some spells.
like
some crystals.
But
But Fernando wants you to check out Tulsi Gabbard. So there you go. And we had another one from Ninja Freak. Hey, from the UK, if adjusted, Raimi's trilogy is $3.9 billion. I mean, that's great. That's all 3 movies. So that means they made at least $1 billion each. So that's huge if inflated. The inflated thing's always interesting to me. You got to sort of have to inflate it because it's not fair to not inflate it.
But modern Hollywood
definitely
won't.
a different conversation.
Yeah, modern Hollywood won't inflate because their movies will look weak. Gone with
They
the Wind
will.
has been number 1
But they
since
have
Gone with the Wind.
They had less
Gone with the
competition
Wind,
back
yeah.
then, so it does even out in a weird way. Because
Yeah,
back
absolutely.
when Spider-Man's movies came out, there wasn't a
was
freaking huge
X-Men,
movie every
yeah.
weekend like there is now.
It goes back to what I said. We had weaker superhero movies
Yeah.
at that time because not many people who were in charge of them cared about them. That doesn't mean we don't care about them. And now we're getting a generation of directors that do care about them, that grew up on these comics. So we are getting better X-Men movies too. I will say that. I mean, the X-Men movies we get now are better than the ones we received.
Oh, whoa.
Well,
I don't want to go down that road. I don't agree with
I mean,
that.
we all can
Sorry,
agree. Okay, look, I'm going to
just
say it
replace
right
the director.
I want to
they're
wrap
better.
up. I don't want to go down this. That's a
So-
crazy. That's a crazy
Star
thought.
Wars
I want to
happened
end on.
back
I want to
then.
end. What? Sorry, Katie, go ahead. Well, are you good? I was going to say I want to end on the last subject here, which was Matrix 4, which I teased in the beginning. I do want to deliver. Is anyone here not excited for Matrix 4?
Me.
I'm not.
I'm going to say this right now.
Oh, you're
I'm
excited or
open-minded.
not?
No, I'm not excited.
Oh, so we got Scarlett and Izzy are not excited.
And I'm into it.
I'm okay with it.
I'm
Let's hear
open-minded.
let's hear Izzy. You start us off. Why not?
Hard sigh. No, it's not that I'm super anti Matrix 4 movie. I'm gonna see it. Am I gonna go opening date? Can I?
Go ahead.
I'm more like
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Morpheus.
I want to be Morpheus when I grew up. I have a trench coat now.
You need the tie too, but go ahead.
I may shave my
Why?
head
So then
for
why
you.
aren't you excited? Because he's not in it.
Well, there's that, right? No, I just think there's a lot of story to tell, and I think they told a lot of story. I think a lot of the issues I had the last 2 movies is things were pretty ham-fisted, right? I felt like they were preachy in a lot of instances, and I don't think that these movies are going to have the same magic as Matrix 1. I don't want to live in a world, right, where we beat this dead horse of a series. And I'm worried that that's a distinct possibility. Maybe that's just sequel jitters, right? Which is a distinct possibility. Yeah. Maybe after a couple of trailers, I'm all aboard, all about it. But like for now, without much information, I'm just worried that we continue to get more of the same thing we've been getting out of a lot of reboots and sequels and extensions to things as of late, which is tepid water, meh.
The Wachowskis aren't doing that though. At least Lana and Lily have been doing Sense8, a very progressive show. As much as like Jupiter Ascending's like insanity, it's still inventive. It's still fun. They're still creative
I love
minds.
Cloud Atlas, by the way.
I forgot they did Sense8.
I will say that.
Yeah, and like I think the Wachowskis, especially since both transitioning, I think they have a different point of view. I think there's a lot of, like you said, the preachier messages in The Matrix are weird, but I think they were talking through their art. And I think now in a different spot with Lana, I'm really curious to see what they can do to return to the Matrix universe. And thankfully, they haven't been beating this horse too long. Yeah. It's not like we've had Matrix animated series. It's not like we had an anime. Yeah, we had the Animatrix, but that was during the thing.
Okay, but I said we had the animated.
Yeah, but that was during it.
And
So we haven't had a lot of...
And that wasn't even about Neo or...
Yes, we haven't had a lot of stuff
yeah.
in between. So I think we're in a better spot to do the Matrix than we are like a Terminator reboot, where I'm like, we just had 45 of these. I think Matrix is in a better spot than most franchises to reboot. And at least with Keanu and Carrie-Anne, it's not like they're,
They're coming back.
Yeah, it's not like they're doing a whole new Chris Helmsworth and Tessa Thompson in The Matrix. We're not doing that. That's what gives me faith.
I wish I could have an opinion, but I've never seen The Matrix.
Oh my God, we have to set it up for you.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a viewing.
You're also the youngest.
And react.
I was curious because you're also the youngest here, not to call you, but I'm just saying it'd be interesting for you to watch it to sort of know does the younger generation like it. The comments are very split. A lot of people saying we're excited, take my money. Some are saying no, it's dumpster fire. Ian, you're on board.
Yeah, I'm on board. I think that the whole premise of The Matrix has so much you could do with. It's got a lot of potential. Did I like the 2 and 3? Absolutely not. And sometimes I don't think 1 even holds up as much as it should. But the story as a whole, man, it's got so much potential. And
Great
with
universe.
and with this technology we have now, I'm so interested. Keanu coming back, awesome. I'm here for it.
I mean, think how they could render that Burly Brawl scene
Absolutely.
with Agent Smiths nowadays.
absolutely.
It would
Yeah,
look
that would
so
work.
much
It
better
could
now.
work.
Yeah.
and the Wachowskis are
Considering-
still that inventive too.
Yeah.
So
And by the way, you said you like their mindset, like with Jupiter Ascending. It's not a good movie, but you like the
Yeah.
premise of, I love Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't. I love that movie. It's really really good. It's long.
strange movie.
It's a strange one, but
Yeah.
it's a good one.
Considering like I haven't seen the Matrix yet, like I'm kind of excited to see the newer one. So that way, if I wanna watch it, it's gonna be like more in with like what this current crowd is looking for, and then I can go back and watch the original and say, oh, this
It
is
could be a
really
starting
cool.
point.
It
yeah,
worked
it's
for
like
the
I see
prequels with Star Wars.
Yeah,
so,
like
yeah.
I see the new one, and then I go back and see the old
It
ones.
brought
I'm
a
like,
whole
oh, so
generation
this
to
is
those.
how it all started. Like when they first were showing the movies, this is how. Oh, that's what they based this off of in the newer movie, and just be kind of cool to look back.
Can I argue with you on that?
Yeah.
That annoys the hell out of me.
Oh man.
Okay,
Let me say my opinion.
I just want to be nice, but I also want to be mean because it's like, come on, you got to go respect the classics. And
No,
you gotta,
I'm still
you're
gonna-
gonna. Would you read chapter 4 of a book first?
No.
No, would you read a second book? No, but I.
My
but
point
I
is
agree
like,
with
and
you.
I'm not trying to call you out specifically. I'm trying, but it's like I see this a
Calling out
lot
the
now with
mindset.
younger audiences where they're like, "Yeah, I'll watch the new one and see if it's good." This isn't a reboot. This is part 4. So my question is like, does that change your mind, or would you just like, "Yeah, no, I just watch part 4 and figure it out"? You probably could. To be fair, you probably could watch part 4
It's all
and
about
make
the same
sense of
shit
it.
out, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the studio's hoping that because there's a lot of people who will just
Well,
say,
you
"I don't
can
want to
do
pay
that
to
with
waste
that's
time."
when it comes to
But
the-
I'm pushing a little bit. Like, do you really care enough, or because for me as a filmmaker, I just get annoyed. Because I'm like, no, you got to go watch parts 1 and 3 if you're going to go watch part 4, unless you really are admitting you don't care that much.
Well, like, okay, for me, it really depends on like the movie. If it's something like a theme or like a storyline that I'm really interested in, then I'm like, oh, I gotta go see the first ones first. But if it's gonna be like a remake or something, and it's of a movie I don't really care about, then yeah, I'll see the newer one.
Sure, and we don't know if it's a remake or I mean, it sounds like it's part 4. From everything they're saying, it's a continuation
Yeah,
of
It
the
could be a
first 3.
soft reboot, though. That's one thing that they could go the route of like you can be introduced to it. Because I made the example
but there
of
was two different
Star Wars
scenarios.
really did that for a whole generation. There was a generation that didn't get to appreciate the '70s Star
Creed
Wars
as well, I'd say.
Absolutely, Creed with the Rocky franchise.
Yeah.
I do think sometimes you can see something that is from an older generation, then get redone and then fall in love with it as well. I think that worked with me with a lot of superhero movies. I grew up with more of the Tim Burton Batman movies, which made me want to go back and watch Christopher Reeve's Superman. But I would have never done it if I would have never seen that Batman. So I do think there is some type of I kind of agree with you.
Like a kickoff
though
point.
Matrix 4 might be I would hope it isn't like a direct sequel because girl, you gonna be lost. These
I
movies
like,
Yeah,
are
I mean,
a
I
puzzle.
appreciate the
They're a
classics of all the
puzzle.
movies. Like, I'd want
Right.
to see this, like, who wouldn't appreciate the classic? You want to see how it all started. So,
Well,
I
at
mean,
least
I
watch
agree
part
with you.
1. At least
Yeah.
watch
Okay,
part 1.
Yeah.
I
Maybe skip
remember.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
I remember I was on. I saw a clip of it on TV. I was flipping through channels, and then I see this guy in slow motion just going like.
That's it. Bullet time.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Well,
And
I
I'm
wanted to
like,
read.
okay.
That was monumental for us.
I wanted to read Alan Smith Emerson says Bill and Ted Face the Music is greater than eating dog farts, which is even greater than Matrix 4. They really don't like it, but they're really being harsh. But I read
Wow.
Bill and
I am
Ted
stoked
Face
for
the
Bill and
Music.
Ted.
Is anyone not excited for that one?
You're
not.
I don't have a connection
Oh,
to Bill
man.
and Ted.
Okay.
But don't you
I
like Keanu enough that you're just like,
I mean, I will watch
I
Keanu
know
and
what
everything.
Bill
We're
and
right
Ted
now
is.
also in the
it's
Keanu
an
Renaissance.
The Keanu
like we have
Sans?
the Keanu Sans. I
Time
love it.
travel, but
So
you
I
like
will
such
check
a
it out.
nice-
And I hate to say this is going to piss off some people. I do like that they're introducing the daughters in this. As someone who likes to relate to female characters more, I do think the Bill and Ted daughters. I'm going to love
But
two
are-
dumb
women
stoner
Here's
have,
the
chicks.
thing,
yeah,
here's
women
the
have
thing.
not been portrayed very fairly in the Bill and Ted
I would
franchise.
hope. I would hope though. That's again why I didn't connect with it. I would hope this would be fun because especially with the girls that I think Samara Weaving, who was in,
Yes, in,
Ready or
Ready or
Not,
Not.
I think she's going to be
She is. She's,
Alex Winter's
Bill's-
daughter,
yeah,
or one
yes,
of them,
Alex
and I
Winters.
think that's great. So these are things that's interesting me. I would probably need to go back and watch some of the older Bill and
Ooh,
Ted.
let's do this. Who's Bill and who's Ted? Who knows? I know. Who's definitive on it?
I know when I actually see them.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
know
know when
you
I
just
see
fried my
Which
brain.
one's busy? Which one's Bill and which one's Ted?
I can't do it.
Take your guess. Keanu Reeves is Bill or Ted?
Ted.
Keanu Reeves is Bill.
Bill, you're saying Bill.
Yeah, he looks more like a Bill.
You're Bill. What are you saying?
Alex
I've
Winter's
never
Ted.
watched that
What's your
movie.
guess?
Bill.
Is he Ted?
Keanu Reeves is Bill.
Ted.
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 It's Ted.
Okay.
And I've seen the Bill and Ted. I've seen Bill and Ted. That's the worst part,
I've
dude.
never seen the
I can't
movie.
remember off the top of my head, but that doesn't.
Y'all see who I got arguing with me?
I have failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. What does he do?
You want him?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
sure.
Can I go?
Somewhere.
You know I gotta go home and watch
Wait,
Bill
can
and
I
Ted,
have
right?
one?
I know
You
now.
know that's what has to happen when I get home.
I just rewatched them with my kids, and they're fun. They were fun.
Okay,
It was-
good.
and
That's
it's
what I'm
sort of-
doing today.
like, as a kid, when I was a kid, it helped me remember historical characters.
Yes, that's something
'Cause
I
was
like about it.
You know,
See,
they
I
knew
like
Abraham
Carmen
Lincoln,
Sandiego.
but they didn't know Joan of Arc and some of these people.
Yeah.
Like, they're young, and it's like it was nice to like you have like oh man, we're talking about like oh yeah, that's Napoleon. He was the guy at the eat a piggy, whatever.
Yes.
Pig, pork, whatever. So it's funny to have that. Sometimes it helps. All right, ending nicely with something that we're excited about. I'm just gonna say Bill and Ted again, and I like The Boys season 2. I'm still really excited for that. It's getting
Oh
close.
man, I love first season of The Boys.
No, actually, the thing I like this week, if this is true, apparently, I can't find the thing in time. Apparently, Tom Holland went on Instagram and unfollowed Sony.
That's so
I'm gonna say
petty.
this right now. I think he's swept up in it just like we are.
Yeah.
I
He's stuck in the
think-
middle.
I think his managers are trying to keep him out of it. Like, okay, he is just a pawn. He's just gonna go with whoever gets the contract.
Oh,
or whatever.
Isn't that the most Tom Holland thing to
I
have done,
know.
though?
He's the
Isn't
baby
that the
in
most-
the divorce.
Don't like it.
Oh.
I want to stay with
Also,
Dad.
2019 shade is unfollowing a company you don't like. I love this. This is
I'm just
what a
thinking
weird
of
time.
It's so much easier. It's
Yeah.
just so much easier
But
than just posting a review and saying I'm
Yeah, you
done
know,
with you.
it's such a subtle shade of like I'm not
MCU,
gonna follow.
I don't want to
So
go.
But you got to think of it. Holland's probably more. I don't know who hired him. Feige was probably involved in that conversation. Do you know?
Feige wanted Asia Butterfield. There was Timothy Chalamet up as well. It was Sony who picked Tom Holland. Sony pushed for that kid a lot. Marvel
Interesting.
really wanted Asia Butterfield, which can you believe that? That would be
I'm saying,
a
no.
mess.
Like, just
Really?
imagine, just
Feige wanted
imagine
Asia
us
Butterfield,
having
yeah.
us,
I thought he had a
like,
hand in that. I didn't know
fangirling
that.
I think everyone came to the conclusion when
Yeah,
they saw
no,
Tom
Asia
Holland, they were like,
Butterfield. Just imagine us
but yes,
fangirling
it was
over
really
him
Marvel
as
wanting
much
Asia
as
Butterfield at
got
first.
you.
At least Disney side of it wanted.
I had no idea.
I got you.
Yep, it was a weird debate
I didn't
for
know that.
like 2015. It was really tossed up. Timothy Chalamet was in there because he was in
He's everything.
Yeah, but it was before he was like the new the guys from Clueless, like new Paul Rudd basically.
Yeah, well, there you go. So Sony lobbying. So I wonder. This may not be true, but I just still think it's funny because it's sort of like I'm not getting involved. But apparently someone said he was following, and then yesterday they noticed he's not following, but he still follows them on Twitter. So who knows if this is true or not? But it still was a funny story. I liked reading this idea of Tom Holland sitting at home on his Twitter like,
I'm good.
and
Yeah,
break
I'm
up
good.
with.
Can I go ahead and end on a funny
But
note?
it's the idea that if I was gonna say if Sony really pushed for them, which they I believe you, then that makes it a lot harder for Tom because
Yeah.
Tom's got to be loyal to them then. And I don't think
he's
anyone's gonna be
contracted
mad at
to,
Tom for sticking around for Sony to finish his contract.
Yeah, he's
It would be
gotta finish.
super lame of Tom to leave. And everyone who's saying, "Oh, we're not gonna get Tom again," guys, he has another movie on his contract. He has to do it.
Yeah.
Not to mention
So
he
they're not
legally
gonna.
has to
They're
do
not
it.
gonna.
Yeah, I don't
do it.
think. Yeah, I don't think Sony's either gonna hold out on the movie as well. They're gonna try to make as much money. They ain't,
need that loot, yeah.
but hopefully everything works out. Like I think we all kind of agreed on that. We all just want this to work out well.
That's
We
all
don't
we
want to
want.
mess. Like
Yes.
I'm a Warner Brothers fan, a DC fan. I don't want you guys to go through what I dealt with. Like I want you guys to have
Yeah, I
a
mean,
good
you're wearing-
time.
look at that shirt.
I know,
Good
but
on
Batman
you.
v Superman, like it was torture for me. I don't want you guys to deal with that. So I want you guys to have a good time.
So you don't like the film?
What, Batman v Superman?
Yeah.
Oh no, I love it. It's my
wow.
favorite DC film.
Oh my God, we're gonna have you back.
Oh
to
yeah,
this
we'll
topic.
do a Batman v Superman day.
The Snyder cut, all of it. All right. Well, this has been a long episode.
Hey, can
I'm
I
gonna
go
wrap
ahead
things
and
up. Go
end
ahead.
Can I go
Yes.
ahead and end on a meme? Look at her. She's like just getting all of us.
Carrie Ann Moss is a queen.
She's amazing. She's awesome. She was a great
She needs to
character.
be in,
Getting all
she needs
of
to be in John
Oh,
Wick.
neck.
Anything you'd like to
Look at her
plug,
hand.
Scarlett? Show me your glove real quick. I want to end on your glove. Anything you want to plug
I
there?
do want to add something.
Quick, yeah, go ahead.
For the Matrix, I think honestly it started going off in the first movie or after the first movie. It was like an sci-fi Alice in Wonderland
Yep.
kind of esque.
They borrowed a lot, and from anime too.
Exactly. You know, you cannot deny that. But what I think is, I think it could go well, but I don't think they should beat the dead horse. I think where they left it off was good. Maybe if they need to go back in, say, oh no, this has all been just a dream for you, and they have to really get out of it, that could work. Just do it differently.
Good thoughts, Ian. Thank you for coming. Your final thought. I want to hold the glove though as we end, if you don't let me. My last chance. Ian, any thoughts you want to say?
No, it was a great fight, and I beat everybody. Thank you.
Controversy.
We did
go
not
subscribe.
change his mind.
Subscribe to the controversy.
Yeah, we can't
please.
change your mind. I love it.
Yeah, I'll play by myself. I don't care.
That should be it. My mind is changed.
Yes.
My mind is not
Katie,
changed.
anything you'd like to plug?
No, it was a good debate, and you were wrong.
Even your own teammate. Ouch. Ouch. All
Your
right,
teammates.
EJ, Flickering Myth. They can find your reviews.
Yeah, but I don't want to say check out my own YouTube channel, but EJ Marino, check it out. EJ
check it
out.
MORENO.
Hashtag
I do a lot of
hashtag.
like weird Korean horror movies and stuff like that. Go check it out. It would be fun to talk about it.
Izzy, thanks again.
you
It's
say
always
his
fun to
name?
talk to you.
No problem. Always fun to be here. Stoked. You were wrong. Two of the people on your team swap sides.
Yeah,
that's
not a
I mean,
good
we
sign.
need to
incontrovertible
argument.
proof.
Not a good sign. All right. Well, I want to wrap things up. Thank you guys for the comments today. I'm going to be back actually this weekend, I believe. Stay tuned. I had a Q&A drunken with Ian, and I want to do one more to try and get a head on my Kickstarter. So I got something fun in store. We're going to do another live Q&A this weekend, potentially. I think either Saturday night, Sunday night. So stay tuned. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter to get that information, and we'll be back. So hit that subscribe button, the bell, guys. You got to go hit the bell, or it doesn't work. And then, how is someone
Enough with
still
the
calling
calling.
me? Go away. I
Enough.
shut it all down. Now I know never to do that again. And then finally, I saw a comment I wanted to make a comment on. Oh, guys, enough of this movie shouts. Everyone calm down. No. You know what I say to that? If you want to go watch a calm movie discussion with movie friends, there's another channel for that. That's
But
not
this
what
is not it.
is. We are passionate movie lovers who are going to lose our S whenever we want. We might overtalk, we might be loud, but I'm going to let everybody talk and have fun because, look, you got to get mad and annoyed and lose your temper sometimes.
Honestly, you have
Doesn't
to
mean we don't
fun
like
of
each other,
it.
and that's what this was supposed to be. It's a fun conversation.
Stop calling.
It's going to be shouts. She's shouting, he's shouting, we're all shouting because we love this. So if you're not into it, go away. Get out of here. Go watch
No
the
one
other
wants
channels.
you.
You're not yelling.
You're just here to bring us all down. We're here to get strong.
There we go. Let's be all yell. Thank you for watching for real, though. All the rest of you, I really appreciate it. And that was fun. We'll have all these people back. We'll be back with you Wednesdays all the time at 9 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll do some more calls again. I'll figure out so people can't troll me. But thanks so much for watching. Have an awesome
for those
night.
pictures.
And I got to figure out how to shut this down. Bye, everybody. I'm snapping. There it is. Bum, 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 bum.
Can I try that?
Which half is big?
Not.